you for joining us. We appreciate your time. We have a couple of things to go over today. The first thing that I'm going to report out on is that as of July 20th, we have 428 cases that have been reported through the schools, 23 outbreaks, and we have closed 7 classrooms throughout Pima County. And I'll get into more details about what constitutes a class closure, potential school closure, and what those things kind of entail. I want to remind everyone that the highest priority for us as a health department this year in terms of school guidance is to keep kids in school. That is our utmost goal. Due to social and emotional implications connected to that, we absolutely want that to be our priority. So please know that we are working our hardest to ensure that that's what happens. In regards to the website, just want to do a quick couple of navigational resource walkthroughs. If you go to pima.gov, which is our main Pima County landing page, as you scroll down, you see school resources right here. Click that link, and then that will bring you to this page right here. Keep in mind that this is not reflective of this morning's report. This was yesterday's data. You will see these numbers updated to the ones that I mentioned earlier on this call. So to repeat those again, as of this morning, we have 428 cases and we have 23 outbreaks. We've closed 7 classrooms at this point in time. So again, you'll see this updated a little bit later this afternoon, but that is the latest update on those numbers. As you scroll down this page again, I want to re-highlight this sanitary measure. The intention of this sanitary measure is to give you all the legal authority to allow to say when a student or a parent shows up that should be in quarantine or isolation to say, I'm sorry, you cannot be here. The health department will not allow it. And that's essentially what these 6 bullet points allow you to do. It also mandates the reporting of all positive cases to the health department and close contacts as well. On the reporting cases note, we're going to go into another quick deep dive into the 2 methods for entry. On Friday, you're going to see a new video on how to upload cases with the Excel spreadsheet walkthrough. We're going to do a brief coverage on that. We have a new Excel spreadsheet that's going to be uploaded this Friday at noon. I'm going to give you a preview of that today. Before we get into the details of all of that, I do want to talk about testing and the importance of testing within your school sites. So the first and foremost thing is that I'm working with Concentric right now to set up two training sessions. As soon as I have those dates and times submitted on the calendar for next week, I will email that out in a distribution to everyone on this call and the Tuesday call as well. It'll just be a flat invite to either a Zoom or a Teams meeting. And then you'll have an opportunity for a 30-minute interaction with Concentric pooled testing to have a discussion with them directly about the implications and application for getting involved in pooled testing. I want to stress again, pooled testing is one of the best methods that you have right now in your toolbox for mitigation at your school sites. Masking, of course, being number 1. Whatever you can do to get folks to mask at your school site, it's going to help you. It's going to prevent outbreaks. We have some data resources that we're pulling together that will help support that case for you all. But if you can implement masking, which we know because of what's going on in some of those situations, the next best thing is for you to get pooled testing in at your site and to try and get as much parent consent as possible on that. We're working on some communications to assist you in that effort. But one of the things you can do is you can say, using the health department's close contact definition, which I'll share with you here shortly, if a child is masked, the close contact definition is reduced to 3 feet physical distance. If they're unmasked, it goes to 6 feet. So just by using that distance rationale alone, you can say that if your kids wear a mask to school, they're less likely to be a close contact in the classroom and are more likely to stay in the class for education throughout the school year. Before I move on to some more specifics on the testing options, I just want to ask if anyone has any questions or needs clarification in relation to those points. You can enter those in the chat, or you can do a quick raise hand and unmute. Okay, I'll proceed, and as you have questions, just please post those in the chat, and I'll stop and address those. Quick question, can you please repeat what you said? Absolutely. Health Department definition of close contact, which you'll see a memo come out from us on that, essentially states that, reiterates the same thing we said all last year. 6 feet, 15 minutes or more over a 24-hour period. However, in education, there's an exemption. If your child is masked, that child is now, or that distance is reduced to 3 feet, okay? So the close contact is 3 feet if they are masked, okay? Mr. Diaz, in results, or in reference to the results from pooled testing, that will be a question for Ash from Concentric. The results for pooled testing are immediate. You know right then and there within a classroom that's being sampled if there's any positives. And if there's any positives within that classroom, then you can immediately start to test those individuals in that one classroom to identify who those positive cases are, which those test results come in within a 15-minute period. So the pooled testing option, again, is a really great opportunity to immediately identify any asymptomatic or symptomatic contacts in your classroom, and then to individually identify those students and then move those individuals into isolation using the health department sanitary measure, which is located here at the top of the schools page, okay? Question from Ms. Asmo here. Does 3 feet apply to employees who are masked as well? It does not. Employees do not meet that definition. It's only for children in the K through 12 setting. That's a great question, and thank you for the clarification on that. So if you are not going to do pooled testing, and if that's just not an option for your district, there are additional options. Erica Spence is on this call right now. I'm going to ask Erica to unmute quickly and just give a couple of updates on the Binax availability and the options that you have to include those tests at your school site. So Erica, floor is yours for a minute or two here.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here today. Like Brian said, testing is really important to keep kids in school, and pooled testing is a phenomenal option. I really encourage it, but there are other options that can be used in conjunction with pooled testing or on their own. Binax Now by Abbott is an antigen test that can be done at your site to test students individually instead of in a pool. They can be symptomatic students or asymptomatic students, but the results are given to you in 15 minutes on site. If you guys are interested in pursuing this test option for your schools, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. Please send me an email and I can talk you through more detailed information about what they do. We're currently working on getting self-tests for kits for students who are exposed, who are using this Binax option and who are using the pooled test options. So if you have any questions about Binax, please shoot me an email and I really look forward to working with you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Erica. So again, Erica will post her contact information in the chat. We strongly suggest that you incorporate some form of testing at your school site. We just started doing a call response team here at the health department, which previously was just myself and 2 other staff, but the volume of calls that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks has increased dramatically. So we have a whole new phone tree response system built out to assist with those calls. But one of the things that we hear from a lot of parents right now is questions about where to get testing. What ultimately we would like to do is we'd like to have those parents to be able to take their students to district to get the test results on day 5 of quarantine, pending the fact that they're asymptomatic. So if they have a student that's asymptomatic or a child that potentially is even symptomatic, they can go direct to the district to get those tests through the Binax system. In order to do that, you just need a CLIA waiver, which you apply for with your entire district, and that one waiver will cover your entire district. If you're with a private or charter or an individual type of school, you can band together with other schools and all apply underneath the same CLIA waiver. The CLIA waiver cost is the only cost that you'll have for testing. It's about $180, and overall the process is fairly easy to do. So we will cover more on testing on future iterations of this session, but we got a lot of stuff to cover with the case reporting today. So I'm going to jump directly into that at this point in time. Reiteration though, if you have any further questions about testing, please email Erica Spence in the email provided in the chat there. Question from Mr. Diaz here. Parents of students we tested are demanding results in writing. Any thoughts? I'm gonna defer to Eric on that one, Mr. Diaz. So Erica, if you can follow up with a connection with Assistant Superintendent Diaz there to follow up on that question and just give some feedback and results to that. I think that would be helpful. All right. So case reporting. A lot of good changes happening here. We are really on the track to try to make this easier for you all. Background, because just in case this is your first time joining us this year, this school year, we knew that there was some teachers and staff who were spending up to 3 hours doing a case report. We do not want that. That's not an efficient use of your time. So you have two options right now for case reporting. The first option is this system that you're probably used to here, okay? So if you click this button right here, it's just gonna take you directly to the form. You're not gonna have to worry about shooting back and forth emails anymore. It just takes you directly to the form. If you have the link already in your inbox, please continue to use that. We ask that when you fill this information out, you absolutely have to include date of birth, an accurate date of birth for that student. Otherwise, we cannot conduct case investigation without an accurate date of birth, and we will have to call you back and badger you until we get that information. The home address allows us to send a letter of notification to the parent and guardian, a physical letter to that individual. The parent guardian, first and last name, and their phone number. You are going to see a few alterations on this form in the next 2 weeks. We'll keep you updated as to what those alterations are as the iterations roll out. Again, the goal of this is to make this easier. And when we built this system in a panic to try and cover all of the cases that were happening last year, we didn't build it from a data-informed perspective. We now have the capabilities to do that. And you'll hear a little bit from Enos, who's on the call today, who will talk a little bit more about some of those details. The other important things to include in this report, though, are the case date information. Please make sure you fill out all of these fields, which is the illness onset, date of last attendance, date of positive test, the date discussed with Pima County Health Department. Change this to date submitted, and you can just fill those in. We may just pull these two off directly off this form in future iterations as well as we continue to refine this process. Down here at the bottom, close contact information, name, parent guardian name, address, date of birth, and then the date of exposure and phone number. Okay, those information fields have to be filled in for us to contact those close contacts. So this is method number 1 of case reporting, and the one that you all should be familiar with. Method number 2 is this Excel spreadsheet and this Excel file upload here. Again, we've heard from a lot of you that if you have over 20 close contacts or multiple cases, that this system is really time consuming and it's a pain in the butt. So this option will work really well for you. Is if as a district, you want to just submit all of your cases and all of your close contacts at the end of the day over to us, we recommend using this method. The Excel spreadsheet form is established through this link. You're going to see this version change as of Friday at noon. Tomorrow, you're going to see an updated version. I'll show you that updated version, but for now, I'm going to open this one up just so you can see what is currently on the link and then walk you through the report on that, okay? So this is currently what's on the link. COVID tracking form for student, and at the bottom, one for staff, okay? For student, you're going to select from this drop-down menu if they're the positive case or the close contact. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit more so you can see these details because it's probably hard to see really tiny letters over a screen. If they're the positive case, select the positive case, first name F, last name G. Exposed by, if you know that information, parent or classroom, whatever it is, you want to enter that information in here, okay? For the bottom of the rows underneath this, close contact, we'll do J, G, exposed by, this is really important in terms of the contact tracing. If this close contact is connected to this positive case, you've got to put the first and last name in the exposed box here. Yes.
Are we supposed to be seeing a spreadsheet right now? Because I still see the reporting case screen with the links on it.
Holy guacamole. I'm glad you pointed that out. Thank you so much. Let me refresh this. Thank you for stopping there. Are you seeing this now?
Yes.
All right, let me backtrack a couple of steps and then go through this, okay? So over here in this column, you'll see positive case information. There's a drop-down box. You can select positive case or close contact. So for the positive case, we've got F and G. They were exposed by the parent. For the close contact is named J and G, and this is the student, right? They were exposed by FG, the positive case. You need to make sure that enter that information in this column here, okay? As you go across, please make sure that all of these columns are complete. Again, we cannot conduct contact tracing or case investigation without date of birth, homeroom for close contacts, the exposure date, date of last attendance, and that other information that's critical for us to know. The staff sheet is the same exact sheet. It's just for staff. And this just helps us designate the staff versus the student input system. Okay. So this is the form that's currently up, but this is going to change Friday at noon. Okay. I'm going to show you the new form right now, and then Enos is going to jump in and provide some other feedback. Before I go any further, can you all see this updated Excel sheet form?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, great. So you've got 3 tabs on the updated Excel spreadsheet, which again, you'll see this on Friday at noon on that link. You've got instructions, confirmed cases, and close contact lists. So this way you don't have to flip between student and staff. Your instructions walk you through exactly how to use the form, okay? It says here how to look at the confirmed cases in the contact list, using the confirmed cases tab, how to pull down, select student and staff, using the close contact list and the information that you need to input here. We tried to keep this information really concise and abbreviated so that it would just be really user-friendly and easy to update. As you're using this, give us feedback. All of these updates are based on the feedback that we've received from you all over the last week, okay? So keep giving us that feedback. Our goal is to emerge with a final product that's just going to be super easy to use. When you get to this page, you'll have a drop-down menu for your district. You can select your district up top here. After you select that district, depending on the district that you select, you will be able to also select the school from that district as well. Okay, and these schools are all populated based on the district that you're in. So this is a unique identifier just based on the district. Okay, so if I, for example, hold on one second, I'm going to go through and just do a quick mute. Apologies. Thank you for hanging in there, everyone. If I select, for example, a charter or Cat Foothills, right? This whole list of schools is gonna repopulate based on the district that I select. This is just an easier step for you all, and make sure that we have data consistency on our end. Make sure you put in your point of contact name and phone number. You can select student or staff down here for all your positive cases. When you go to the close contact list, you'll need to make sure that you cite who the positive COVID case was and you'll have that pre-populated on that from the confirmed cases list, okay? Enos, I'm going to ask you to unmute here for a minute, and then if you want to do just a quick intro and then walk through anything else that I missed on this sheet for the drop at Friday.
Oh, hi everybody. Enos Maynor, Pima County Health Department. I'm in the data and informatics section. And so yeah, so we're trying to work on making this as easy as possible for you guys, but while still keeping the data in line, like making it so we can export it cleanly and take a look at it on the back end. But yeah, Brian did hit the main points. So like, so we tried to add as much as, drop downs where we could for you guys, because try to take as much burden off of having to retype the same things over and over and over again for all of you. But yeah, I think Brian got most of it. So like, yeah, Brian, do you want to do like fill in a first name, last name, and then we'll show them like how that affects the close
Yeah.
contact list
Yeah,
there?
great call.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put in Brian Eller for confirmed case. Date of birth, this is not my real date of birth, but I'm gonna put in a date of birth here. Okay,
There you go.
so then when I go over to the close contact list now, I'll be able to go over here and then select that positive case. So this will pre-populate based on what you put into the confirmed case column. Okay, so again, just really user-friendly, easy to use. And I gotta say, I gotta give major props to Enos and the team for doing this, because this should be a lot easier for you all on your end to fill out to give us the information we need. Okay.
Hopefully, yes. And then, like I said, we are absolutely open to any feedback on this, for sure.
Awesome. All right. We'll address any questions in relation to this. I see a couple popping up at the chat from Kathy Steinley and Nikki. I'll get to that question in a second. What do you want for homeroom? For K through 12 or K through 8th grade, whatever classroom would be designated as the homeroom classroom. And then for high school, most high schools, as far as I know, have a homeroom or like a basic class. You can put in, if you have a student that has like 7 classes that they've been to during the date of exposure, then just pick one of those and enter it in so that we can go back and use that as at least for a basis of case investigation.
Brian,
Okay.
do you want the teacher's name in the school, or because you might get room
Just-
numbers, which is
yeah.
probably not going to help you.
Just the teacher's last name.
Okay,
Thank you for that clarifying question. That's an excellent clarifying point. Yeah, just the teacher's last name.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Eunice, we should probably set up a call with Kathy Steinley afterwards, because if anyone can point out how we can make this better, it would be Kathy for sure. Question from Miss Miller Hilden here. You absolutely must identify close contacts and you are quarantining. Let me go back to a sanitary measure to show this really quick, because this may have been something that was missed earlier. Is everyone seeing the sanitary measure on the screen share? Dustin, you want to give me a thumbs up if this is coming up? Awesome, thank you. So I just want to point this out. We are citing the legal statutes here and here that say on number 2, once identified, all known or suspected cases must be sent home as soon as possible, which means that they must be sent home to quarantine. Bullet point number 5, unvaccinated or partially vaccinated close contacts must remain at home and be excluded from school and extracurricular activities. Unvaccinated or partially vaccinated close contacts who remain asymptomatic may return on or after day 7 upon providing documentation of a valid negative COVID-19 test collected on or after day 5 of the quarantine. So just to point that out, you absolutely must quarantine close contacts according to health department guidance. If your district has a different policy, that's something you'll have to take up with your district. But as far as I'm aware, all of the districts are on board with this guidance. Erica, oh, awesome. Nikki, Erica responded to your question in the chat there. If you have further questions, we'll get those addressed in a second. Christy is not seeing what I'm sharing. Oh, I don't see it either. I'm going to drop, hold on one second. I'm going to drop the link to this in the chat, which I believe Rachel and Celesco already did. Wow, awesome. Thank you, Rachel. If you would like to come work for my team, let me know. We won't pull you from the schools. I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's go back 2 other steps. So coming back to just recondense everything here, sanitary measure located here on the link, case reporting buttons here. This Excel spreadsheet will change tomorrow with a new link, okay? So please note that that's changing tomorrow. You're gonna see a new one updated at noon, all right? I may even, you know what? I may even do that at 4 o'clock today. Enos, so let's connect on that and maybe just change that for tomorrow now that everyone on this call is familiar with the new spreadsheet.
We're definitely quarantining.
Okay, so Nicole, oh yeah, no worries. I promise Nicole I'm not gonna poach. Question from Miss Esmil here. Hi, Brian, if we have more than one confirmed case in a classroom, will the county make that connection via our standard reporting procedures to the county? Or do we need to do a special notification in regards to a potential outbreak? Great question. So we will be able to do that. It will help make things faster if you're able to notify us. If you think that there's been an outbreak at your school, at a school site, you can send us over just a quick email or call us at the 7018 number, which is right here, 724-7018. Either one of those notifications will let us know, hey, this has come up, we possibly have an outbreak here. We've been able to pick those up pretty quickly as a result of the new reporting system that we're integrating and the data management on the back end, but it always helps just to have triple checks in place. So if you suspect an outbreak at your school site, call us, email us, let us know, and that'll just help raise extra flags on those notifications. I mentioned earlier about classroom closures, and I want to take a moment to talk more detail about that. We will not make a class closure without consulting the administration and the health officers at the school site in question. And usually that will involve an additional level of conversation with the district administrators at those school sites as well. So in all of those cases, we've had very thorough calls with our epidemiology office, our department leadership, and we make sure that we do those things in collaboration with your districts and with your schools. The only cases where that's happened have been where there's been 3 or more cases from one classroom site, which constitutes 10% or more of that classroom population. And it's always been in regards to insufficient mitigation, which means that not everyone is masked up. It's usually been around 20% of less students in that classroom that are wearing masks at that school site. There's been a few classrooms where there have been 2 or more cases where we haven't shut that down because everyone's masked. And those outbreaks have been pretty rare overall. Okay. The school closure is that's something we haven't touched yet. I mentioned earlier, our primary goal this year is to keep kids in school. That is our primary goal. So it'll be a very rare situation when we shut down a school, if at all this year. We absolutely want to avoid that, okay? I did see a question pop up from Superintendent Williams. I did give a quick update on that at the beginning. I'll do that again. So you'll see these numbers updated later today to reflect 428 cases and 23 outbreaks, okay? So you'll see that updated on the website later today. We've done 7 classroom closures in Pima County at this point in time. Okay, so I think I've covered everything that I've needed to cover. I have 2 minutes left. Nikki, let me just make sure I go back and I've addressed your question. So the question there was question of BinaxNOW testing results in writing, maybe simple reports. Staff from the CDC have an answer, want to know that this is in need of the schools. Okay, so what I'm taking from that is that there is definitely a request from the schools to provide written results. Erica says, with regard to written results, the county can provide you a template for handing results to the student, staff member, or parent if you like. We recommend using a form for this every time you run a test. It could be a basic form with the date that test was run, the name of the student, the result, and the signature of the staff member who ran the test. This is what the county does currently for tests run. I do recall seeing a comment from Lisa Cervantes from Vail earlier about the template that they currently provide for their district. Yes, and it's at the top there. So Lisa and their district has a template to provide that written result. So there's 2 resources for that. And Kathy, I'll get to you in 1 second here. Just want to make sure I get these other ones. A note from Enos, sorry. Just a note, the link to the web page to upload the Excel file will stay the same. And you can also download the most updated version of the report spreadsheet from the uploading web page as well. I need just a little bit of clarification on that. Enos, can you unmute and just clarify that piece?
Yeah, so for the folks that have already been submitting their line list through the upload link, that link will not change. So it will stay the same. You could be able you can do the same process, or you can upload from the same link that you already had. So you can either go here and go click on that button, or get to this the way you were before. And then also, if you scroll down a little bit, Brian, so right there, the school COVID line list, you can also download the most up-to-date version of that spreadsheet from right there as well. So it's another place where you can grab that spreadsheet if you need a copy of it.
That great clarification. Thank you. So that's something that's important to distinguish on the communications. So the link that I was referencing earlier is this link. This is the one that will be updated. This one will remain the same. And I should do it. So
Yes, yeah.
walk through what that looks like. When you click this button, you'll be directed to this page right here. And then all you got to do is, after you do your Excel spreadsheet on the line list and you save it, you literally just open a file here, grab that line list and drag and drop it directly into this upload. And then you're done. Hit submit after you upload that. Okay. And then that securely transfers all of that information over to us, and we can just pick it up. It's easy to use. All right. Thank you for that, Enos. That's an important clarifying point. Kathy Steinle. I think you're muted, Kathy.
I do better with a microphone. The Binax test that now you can get at drugstores that people can administer in the public. Number one, does that mean that we have a lot of tests that are perhaps going on that we have no idea how much testing is happening and what the results are? And do you have any recommendations when we have parents that administer it to a child? I think we've just been taking their word for it, but do you think that's something that needs to be looked at?
Yeah, great question. I'm going to have Erica chime on this in a minute. So my current suggestion would be, usually like a photo or something like that of the test result would be a great idea. The problem is that now constitutes medically sensitive information, and you don't want that floating over email or over a phone number or something like that. So Erica, do you want to just chime in here on what the updated guidance for home test reporting would be?
Sure. So as Brian was saying, since the home tests are not done by somebody who is trained, it's difficult to have schools say, oh, you were exposed 7 days ago and you tested negative, but how do we know you tested negative if we didn't see it? And it's hard to pass tests because of the medically sensitive data. You can't just take pictures of them. It's harder to do it that way. That's another reason why doing testing at your schools is so important. If you have Binax tests at your school, you can have kids that run these tests, they test negative, and it's like, great, now you know that you can come to the school, have the test run it says it's negative, great, now you're good to go. So it's kind of a know for yourself option. But like you said, yes, it's hard to tell what those results are if they're not being documented.
Because
Yeah.
we do, at TSD, we do have Binax and we are offering, but there are many parents, frankly, that don't want to wait. And they take the child home and then they're going to the drugstore. I've only had this a couple times, and they get the test. And they were sort of like, okay, I hope you did it right, and I hope what you're telling me is true. So,
Yeah.
okay, so pictures are a no-go because that constitutes medically protected information.
Yeah, I mean, unless the parent comes and shows you the photo physically on their phone, that would be the only way to really do that without violating a HIPAA
Okay.
FERPA clause. So,
And that's still assuming that you know that the parent did the test right.
yeah.
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 For all there's a lot of questions with that, and I don't know if they want to carry it around like a souvenir. So, but
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And there is going to be some processes that we're going to have to figure out on our end for the home testing option, which is, again, why we're really strongly promoting that you all, as schools, have a testing option available to you so that it can actually get reported and assigned a MedSys number, and everything's there that we need to do in order to conduct contact tracing case investigation. I want to call out just a couple of last things in the chat, show a quick thing on paper, and then we're going to end because I know I'm 5 minutes over, so I apologize for that. Lisa says the Vail template was approved by the CDC. That's in reference to the notification template of a positive test, which Vail is using for their Binax kits. Janine Sarnecki has asked if the Vail template can be shared out. What we'll do, Lisa, is maybe we can even take that template and just post it directly on our webpage, and then people can access it there. We'll post ours on there as well, so you have a couple of options, and then you can just plug and play, put your district header on there so that you have something that comes from your district. But yeah, thank you, Lisa, for being available to share that out. Last thing, we're working on this new toolkit, which has a lot of pages and a lot of addendum. Most of this is going to be appendices, which will include the legal definition of close contacts and graphic visual information that will illustrate close contact, what that looks like, and as well as some other supplemental materials that will be easy to use and reference to kind of helping your district navigate COVID-19 over the next couple of months. We'll be publishing that on our webpage as soon as that's up and ready. We're going through some final edits on that, and we'll look forward to your feedback on that document as well. I am going to stop recording at this point in time and screen sharing. I want to thank you all again for your time today.